What's up, everybody? Welcome to today's live stream workshop, Introduction to the Rockefeller Habits. Thank you very much for joining us today. I'm just having like a moment of emotion because this is like one of the coolest things I think we've ever done. We've been planning for this moment. We've been planning for this workshop tactically for like a few weeks because that's how we roll at Measurable Genius. But more practically speaking, I've been practicing for this moment in terms of our ability to execute on an online workshop, a live streamed workshop with the production quality that I hope to deliver to you today. So thank you for joining us. I've got a packed lesson agenda for us today. I've got a lot of content to cover. As you know, this workshop is 2 hours long, and I've committed to sharing information that is going to incrementally move the needle forward for you in your business if you choose to apply one or many things that you learn here today. I'd like to introduce myself. My name is Alexander Ford. I'm the CEO of Measurable Genius. We are a Calgary-based marketing agency, IT services organization, and strategic consulting firm. We help our clients apply the Rockefeller Habits in order to become scaling growth firms in their industry. We support that by providing really tactical project support and IT support for those businesses so they can focus on what's most important to them, which is espousing the gospel of their brand, getting their message out into the market, and leading their company culturally, operationally, etc. So, will you please share this broadcast? We've just gone live. This is live, not evergreen. And we'd love to get access to as many business owners and entrepreneurs as we can. So there's some buttons below this page. If you click those buttons, it won't interrupt your watching experience, and that will help me a ton. Also, you'll notice that on this side of your page, if you're on desktop, or below the video if you're on mobile, that there's a chat box. The people that are watching this live stream are all in that chat at the same time, so you guys can chat with one another. I encourage you to submit questions, ask for clarification, and engage. We love to talk to you. We'd love to know where you're watching this from. Let us know in those comments as well. A couple of my team members are in chat. I've got two wonderful videographers and directors here with us today, Stephen and Warren, who are behind the scenes. You don't really get to see them. We'll figure that out. And at my office, we've got Everett Bellingham and Jennifer Coe. They're going to be in this chat supporting you guys if you have any questions or concerns, technical issues, etc. They're available at this time. Okay, so those are the logistics. Let's quickly cover what we're going to discuss on today's live broadcast. The Rockefeller Habits. First and foremost, what are they? Well, the Rockefeller Habits is, as the name implies, a series of disciplines and habits that when you apply them to your business, as well as tools that provide you with clear lenses that we can look at the business through, basically over time, compound business development practices into exponential results. That's the point of the Rockefeller Habits. The Rockefeller Habits are not an event-based business planning formula. What I mean by that is it's not something you do once and never do again. The entire point of the Rockefeller Habits as a business planning or strategic planning infrastructure is to create the space for you to do exactly the right amount of planning in exactly the right amount of time at exactly the right times to move your business forward in achieving your highest priority opportunities and tackling your highest priority challenges. Now, those businesses who choose to apply the Rockefeller Habits to their businesses often start out a little bit overwhelmed. It can be a lot of information to digest. There's a lot of stuff that we're going to cover. And as you'll see in the second half of the show, for example, when we cover the one-page strategic plan, every box, every lens, every question involved in the Rockefeller Habits can become a rabbit hole. We can dive deep in any one box, any one question, and really get granular, specific, and refined in that one topic. Now, we're not going to start there. Businesses can extract a ton of value by dipping their toes into the surface and starting with something simple. And in fact, that's critical. You need to start with what's going to make the biggest impact to you. Every business can apply the Rockefeller Habits in a unique way. You don't have to approach it in the same way as anybody else. So from that perspective, what I'd love for you to look for in today's broadcast is which of the pieces of the Rockefeller Habits do you believe will make the biggest difference in your company if you were to focus on just that one thing? Now, obviously, take notes, grab a pen and paper because we're going to move quickly, and there will likely be a replay released, but I want you to have your full attention and really be focusing on what you can get out of today's broadcast, okay? Now, let's say you choose to take one or two items from this broadcast and put them into effect in your business. What you're going to experience over time, if you do that persistently, is you're going to have exponential growth begin to occur in the business operations of your company. So your systems are going to get better, you're going to become more efficient, your team is going to be more highly prioritized, you're going to be more focused on bigger company goals and objectives that make bigger differences for the same amount of work. You're going to get a higher yield on your effort, and you're going to get a higher return on your investments of energy, time, and money, because instead of taking care of whatever priorities emerge today, you're going to be consistently refined in your focus on what's going to make the biggest impact. All right? Now, before we jump into the next thing, I'd like to define a concept. That concept is exit, because I'll use that concept throughout this live stream, or I'll mention it a few times. And so I want to make sure we're on the same page about what an exit can look like, because an exit doesn't necessarily mean you've sold your business. It doesn't necessarily mean that you've departed the organization. In fact, the Rockefeller Habits, this scaling up framework, basically defines exit as having an owner who is able to spend 80% of their time in the market. And they define in the market as activities related to competitor research, new product research and development, developing relationships with vendors, tradespeople, salespeople, industry contacts, being out in the market, marketing or selling your services. It basically means espousing the gospel of the brand and the core values of your company, increasing brand awareness, attracting high quality talent, etc. And all of those things are done out in the world because you're not stuck in the business responding to emergencies, dealing with fires, and being distracted by low priorities. Okay, so, all right. The first bit of content that we're going to cover today is a 40,000-foot view on the routines and disciplines and habits that make up the Rockefeller Habits. I'm going to cover each of the specific meeting types that the Rockefeller Habits defines and that it suggests that you apply to your business. And I think that basically sets us up. Okay? Now, I have to run down these stairs you see behind me. We're going to set up in front of a flip chart. So we're just going to take 2 minutes. We've got a clip prepared. We're going to introduce Vern Harnish. Vern Harnish is the originator of the Rockefeller Habits. He is the author of the original book as well as the now re-released book called Scaling Up, Mastering the Rockefeller Habits. It's his business and his institution that have developed these habits and worked with businesses all around the world. And this is a case study for one particularly successful business who managed to discover and apply the Rockefeller Habits before his business grew too much for him to handle. So let's roll that clip. I'll head downstairs. We'll get ready for the first section of content. I'll see you guys in a second.
Hey everyone, I'm hanging out with John Ratliff at his home here in Delaware. John studied the scaling up methodology and implemented in 2006 as CEO of AppleTree Answers. And it's a call center business, which I consider the sweatshops of the information age. And I got to tell you, the results were pretty spectacular. We're going to talk about that in a second. But first, John, what were the reasons that you implemented scaling up in the first place?
Yeah, so we were the classic case, right? We were a growth company. We were successful. We were adding customers. Everything was great from the outside. But inside, we were a disaster. We were chaotic. Sales hated operations. Operations despised sales. They were selling the wrong customers, and we couldn't service what they sold. And we had no system whatsoever to run the business. It was a group of really dedicated people doing the best they could do every day with absolutely no playbook. And you can do that for a certain amount of time, and you can get to a certain size. But ultimately, those businesses implode. And we were desperate. We were literally drowning in our own success. And we really needed a methodology to run the company. And got lucky enough to meet you in 2006 and stumble onto Rockefeller Habits. And took us a little while to get going with it. But by 2008, we were what I'll call a fully deployed Rockefeller Habits company. And it was that decision that actually gave us the ability to scale. I'm convinced without Rockefeller Habits, there's no way. We would not have made it based on how fast we were growing.
So John, what were the results of implementing scaling up at AppleTree?
So we started to implement scaling up in 2006. We really found our stride, I think, in 2008. But if you take 2006 to when we sold the company in 2012, we actually grew the company by 30x. So 3,000% growth in 6 years. And
That's a lot of growth.
Yeah, and I'll say it over and over and over. There's no way we can grow like that without using the scaling up methodology as the system to get everyone aligned around how to run the business. And then, as you talk about often, is, exits that far exceed your industry average multiples. We were about 5 times the industry average multiple on our exit. So the success of scaling up not only helped us grow the company, but really helped us drive a very significant valuation on exit.
Welcome back, guys. So I hope that you were able to see in that video that it's not just businesses that haven't got their business planning stuff figured out that need a system like the Rockefeller Habits. Business owners who've become successful in particular, but could extract a ton more margin, a ton more efficiency, and a ton more fun or life out of their company can definitely apply the Rockefeller Habits to their businesses as well. So you'll see that business owners as small as single employees, all the way up to businesses that are doing billions of dollars, can equally apply the Rockefeller Habits to their business. And the reason that they're able to do that is because it's not dependent on an industry. It's not unique to any one particular way of running a business. Like, it's not specifically for retail. It's not specifically for services. It's not specifically for that other type of stuff. It's a system, a habit, a routine, a set of principles that you can apply no matter who you are, no matter what you're doing in your life or in your company. And that's one of the things that makes it so appealing to me. As you may have seen in the introduction, I consider myself a polymath. I'm interested in discovering universal principles that can be applied religiously, right? I want to be able to know that if I do things in a certain order, I can produce a repeatable and reproducible result. And that might come from my history as an IT service provider, where I've learned that no matter what you think may be happening, there's no unicorns jumping up inside your router. There's no buffalo stampeding through the internet data center down at the Shaw headquarters in the middle of Calgary. There's very tangible settings and configurations that are necessary. And if you configure things in a certain way, computers will always do what's expected. But life and human behavior and business and in the world of systems that are much bigger than us, like the economy and the marketplace, it can be harder to feel sometimes that you can produce predictable results in your company. But what I'd like to share with you today is that it's no different than exercise. If you hop on a treadmill and you do your best, if you watch the nutritional quality of the foods that you're eating, if you drink additional water, if you focus on getting enough sleep, your life quality is destined to improve. Improve towards what is to be determined by you. But the vector towards a greater degree of congruency, a greater degree of health, a greater degree of flexibility, a greater degree of contribution and fulfillment, those things can be guaranteed. So what we're going to talk about first on today's live stream workshop, and for those of you just joining, welcome, thank you for being here. We're going to talk about how the Rockefeller Habits are actually more of a discipline and series of habits than they are about necessarily having high quality plans. These are things that over time you're going to get better at, okay? And I'm going to admit to you that I still have meetings sometimes, some of the meetings I'm going to talk to you about today, where I feel that the quality of our agenda and the quality of output that I get from those meetings are less than what I know I'm capable of. But I am moving forward, and it's the discipline that counts, okay? So the first major component of the Rockefeller Habits that you can apply to your business are a series of meeting rhythms and disciplines. Rhythm and discipline. Okay, now I'm a drummer, so rhythm is very interesting to me. That marker's screwed. All right. Rhythm is a very interesting component of any orchestra or band because they have the capability to basically push the entire performance off rhythm or on rhythm. The conductor has this relationship with percussion that is absolutely critical for the symphony. Okay? So, these meeting rhythms are gonna, I'm just warning you, you're going to feel overwhelmed if you try to do all this at once. There's daily, weekly, monthly, quarterly, and annual meeting rhythms that we're going to cover here today. So let's start with daily. Every single day in a business, and a Measurable Genius, and all of the clients that choose to participate in applying the Rockefeller Habits, we have a meeting what's called stand-up. You can call this like a daily huddle. Huddle, stand-up, it's kind of like a sports term. And stand-ups are exactly 15 minutes, and they serve a primary function, which is to create a connection to the most important priorities each individual is working on today. It's so the company can get focused on the most meaningful metrics and KPIs that the business is measuring that are critical to moving the company forward. And it's an opportunity for team members to bring rocks, pebbles that they're going to stub their toes on in the next 24 hours so that you can get those things solved before you get to the end of the business day. We've got a 2-minute clip we're going to play that features information on daily stand-up. We're going to dive into that because it's going to explain this topic better than I could by being extemporaneous with you here live. So stick around, we'll be right back. Okay, we're starting. It's 9:37. Welcome everybody who was not here last time. I was here 2 days ago. Oh, you weren't here. Okay. Hiding in the back. How are you?
Doing pretty good.
Good. I'm not going to give a bunch of preamble today, but I'm just going to reset context to each of the points during stand-up. Step 1 is each person expressing their priorities, not a recitation of the daily agenda. So 1 to 3 items that are most important for you to tackle today, right? Do you start with the written ones?
I can start with the written ones, then we give everyone on the phone so I don't forget about them, then we go around our room.
Okay, great. Let's go. For those of you who don't know what a stand-up is a 15-minute or less meeting where you take 5 minutes to identify what are the priorities you're working on today, what are the key metrics for the organization, and what are you going to stumble on in the next 24 hours that we can resolve right here with the whole company so we can get the information transfer done so that you don't have to wait till 3:30 and then tell someone you have an emergency. That's the point. Having the cadence of waking up, going to work, and having the first thing that happens be, what are your priorities? What are my priorities? Anything we need to communicate about? What are the KPIs for the company? Okay, let's go. It's a priming mechanism. And as your team grows or as you recruit more people, then it becomes a cross-functional communication and information transfer mechanism. But it plays both roles. One is the attention and the priming. Where are we going to put our attention today? Priorities, measurements, hurdles. Let's make today productive. And the second component then becomes information transfer and problem solving. To a degree. I don't want you to spend a lot of time processing problems at a stand-up. If you get to a point where the conversation is going to take more than 10 seconds, then you go, let's take this offline. Those two people stand together before they leave stand-up and they go solve problems. Go to work. Thank you, guys. Cool, right? Okay, so we're actually going to be interviewing Donna Korth. She is our second guest on today's live stream workshop. She's going to talk about how the one-page strategic plan has had an impact on her business. And the video clip that you just saw was filmed when I had the opportunity to work with her entire company and demonstrate to them what an effective and congruent daily stand-up can look like. Now, just for some reference, like they have 30 employees. And we get through that in less than 15 minutes, right? Now, I'm a team of 6, and sometimes we struggle to get through stand-up in 15 minutes. So there's not necessarily a correlation between how many team members you have and how long stand-up is going to take. What is really the indicator on how effectively stand-up is being run is how well do you adhere to the agenda, how specific and concise are all of the team members in their contribution, and how many rocks do people have to bring to the table that's impeding their ability to do their job, okay? So that's a big difference. Businesses that choose to do that end up with clearer communication. They're solving problems ahead of their customers and other people telling them that there's problems. It really, really is effective for helping people get information and context from different parts of the business. A really great example I'd just like to quickly cover here is that the warehouse team at Korth Group has had an opportunity to really get to know what the rest of the business does, whereas before stand-up, they were often just out there doing their own thing and they didn't really have a chance to connect with the rest of the company. And the result of that has been the communication is better, the culture feels closer knit, there's definitely a familial energy, etc. Right? I can't understress how bonding daily stand-up can become for your business. All right? Next, weekly meetings. Weekly meetings get split in half. There's 2 of one type and 2 of another. So I'm going to cover the easy one first, and that's executive meetings and departmental meetings. In order for these to be understood, I'm going to take a quick tangent into the land of org charts. Okay? So every business should have an org chart, does have one. If it's not written down, it's just in your head. And for the sake of simplicity and so that we have a common language for today's live stream workshop, I'm going to define an org chart in 3 layers. I'm going to give those layers names so that I can use that context when we're talking about these meetings. First and foremost, you essentially have the CEO or the visionary of the business. And to me, that's the land of the executive. The executive. Now, executive is not a title, it's a quality. So the business owners that we work with have an inner council, they have an executive team that they depend on. These people are the closest to these business owners. These are the people that you trust most, who you give the greatest credit to, who you allow to become a voice in you, modeling your future, modeling your legacy, and creating whatever it is you're going to create in the world. I believe that this should be highly restricted. You should guard your executive sanctum as if it were your palace. You want to make sure that the people that you label executives in your life and your company, you can truly depend on to have your best interests and values at heart. There are very few people in your life who should qualify to be considered an executive, all right? Next, we have what's called middle management. Middle management is every manager or leader with authority and accountability in the business who are not on the executive team, okay? Those are middle managers. Everyone else are team members. So if you have an org chart, it'll look something like this. The CEO has several middle managers, and these middle managers have team members who report to them. Okay? So, simple enough. Weekly, it's critical that you meet with your executive council, your visionary council, as Jim Collins calls it. You meet with these people weekly on an agenda dedicated to blue sky thinking. This is your once weekly 1 to 90-minute opportunity to focus on blue sky thinking, to get out of the business and exclusively talk about what is on the forefront. This is where we bring an agenda to the table that empowers us to ask questions that you might see on a SWOT analysis, or that you might consider what's happening 5 to 10 years in the future because of, right? You bring future forward-looking planning agenda items to this meeting specifically to make sure that you're engaged in the job of being a visionary and executive. Engaging in this habit and this discipline is one of the actions, one of the repeated motor actions that you can take to literally activate your biological prefrontal cortex by structuring an agenda that enables you to have blue sky thinking time each week. You're practicing the art of engaging the prefrontal cortex, and the prefrontal cortex is often considered the executive command center, the strategic command center of the brain. It doesn't turn on by accident. It turns on because you choose to turn it on by stimulating it with high quality questions that are in a vector for future forward-looking vision. It's why it's so critical, okay? Next, we have the exact same type of meeting with each named department in the company. So you remember we talked about having middle managers. Each of these middle managers are technically leaders of a department. So you might have a marketing manager, a sales manager, a fulfillment or operations manager of some kind, a financial manager, et cetera, et cetera. These middle managers and the relevant parties on the executive team and all of the team members in those corresponding departments meet once per week per department. So departmental weekly meetings per department. And at these weekly meetings, we take each team member or each department's critical priorities for the quarter. We ask what specific brainstorming, what specific problem solving, how can we work together as a team during this 1 hour to 90-minute departmental meeting in order to move forward the 5 critical priorities that we defined at the beginning of the quarter so that we can move the business forward. Again, this is working on the business. This isn't like a sales meeting where you talk about your sales numbers. This isn't a fulfillment meeting where you're talking about customer complaints. These are departmental meetings where we're working on the department, on our quarterly priorities, or in some way on the business. And there's specific agendas for this. You don't need the agenda to be really specific or to be able to execute one of these meetings if you just commit to the focus of focusing on priorities and working on the business or on the department instead of in it, okay? Next, each middle manager and executive, which is why you shouldn't have very many, has one start, stop, keep meeting with an employee or a team member weekly. So what that means is Alexander has a meeting with Warren this week, all right? It means Alexander has a meeting with Jennifer next week. Alexander has a meeting with Everett the week after that. And at those meetings, we ask the following question. What should the business start doing, stop doing, and keep doing? Simple enough. We keep track of all that data, and we bring that to our quarterly planning, okay? We also have what's called a 4Q conversation weekly with one customer out in the world. So the start, stop, keep is internal, The 4Q conversation is external. We collect information from one customer each week in order to collect data, and again, we bring that to the quarterly meeting. What this does is it makes sure that we have a collection mechanism in place for feedback, both internally and externally, and we do so in a way that isn't obtrusive, that isn't in the way, that isn't costing you a whole bunch of money. It's 15 minutes once a week. And here's what happens. Because this is happening, because this exists, we're able to hedge against interruptions, hedge against customer and employee feedback, and we train our team and we train our customers into collecting information because they know an interview will be coming up in the future, okay? So this is really, really helpful for moving forward in information collection and getting what we need to know from employees and from customers in order to make our business, our products, and our services better, okay? That's a lot of weekly meetings, which is why you need to have only a couple or one executive, right? Now, I know, okay, that's the hard stuff. Now let's jump into monthly. Every month, we bring the executives and the middle managers together for a day of learning, indoctrination, and information transfer. This is called a manager's meeting. We have it once per month. It's a full day meeting. And it's really the context of these monthly meetings is to create the opportunity for executives and middle managers to review the 4Q, the start, stop, keep stuff, other business issues, and from a middle management perspective, close loops on problems, close loops on issues, keep the company moving so that the team members who've asked for things ultimately get a response for those things, right? The feedback you've been collecting ultimately gets reviewed and applied to the business. Next, we have quarterly. This is where the rubber hits the road. And in fact, this is where I suggest, as it relates to the habits, that most people start. It's a lot harder to start with daily than it is quarterly, because at the quarterly planning workshops, or your quarterly planning, whatever you want to call it, your quarterly planning meetings internally, this is a 2-day agenda, which is designed specifically for you to have the opportunity to review your incredibly long-term objectives, your core values, and the things that are most meaningful and important to you in your business, and reverse engineer those into a solid 90-day action plan that you can apply to move the company forward, okay? This is huge. This happens once per quarter, and it's the most valuable day or 2 days you will spend. And this is where the Rockefeller Habits kick into gear, because whether it's on a quarterly or at the annual planning sessions, the only difference being the annual agenda is 3 days, and it allows for a greater degree of flexibility and an ability for you to refine the macroscopic items. Normally it's restricted. We don't edit that stuff at quarterly. At these workshops is where you get to run your vision, run your attention, and run your focus on those core pillar anchoring values, mission statement, big, hairy, audacious goal, and the things that are most important to you achieve in the long term that ultimately get reverse engineered into a highly productive 90-day series of priorities that are going to move the business forward because you chose them based on that reverse engineering process, okay? So this is the cornerstone. These meeting disciplines are critical. Simply embodying the behaviors of these disciplines is an incredible start, okay? It's an incredible start, and you don't have to know what you're doing. If you want some agendas, if you want to know what you can do here, we're going to send out information after this live stream workshop. There's a textbook that outlines each of the agendas that you need to follow at these meetings, how you can engage in those meetings, what it looks like to run those meetings, etc. We'll send that out to you later. But what I want to impart to you here is that you can see that if you're in the world annually, breaking down super long-term objectives into quarterly segments, 4 per year, each with 5 rocks, 5 critical priorities, obstacles, or challenges that you're going to tackle. That's 20 high-priority obstacles or rocks that you're going to tackle per year. And then you're going to break those down into monthly, weekly, and daily opportunities to stay focused on attention and problem solve and get things out of the way. And that's the difference between a business that gets shit done and a business that ends up afraid of starting. Okay? I know, it seems simple, but if you just try it, okay? So, we have a guest I am about to chat with. Where's my lid? I'm about to chat with Jason Meyer. Jason Meyer is the president of Hearth and Home Fireplace. I've had the opportunity to work with Jason now for more than a year in applying the Rockefeller Habits, and he dove in feet first. He's really taken this and he's run with it. And we're going to talk to him about how the Rockefeller Habits have made a tremendous impact on his culture, his team, and his business, and really anything else that he wants to share about why the Rockefeller Habits are going to work for you and why they work for him. In order for me to get settled and make sure everything is working, I need just a couple minutes, so we're going to run a quick commercial, and we'll be right back after this with Jason.
Hi, I'm Jane Powers, and entrepreneurs hire me to speak with confidence and sell with authority. Speaking with confidence and selling with authority is not by accident. It takes calculation, and it actually takes professionals. So I want to tell you, I hired Measurable Genius to make me look genius. I'd seen live streams before. I didn't realize what it took. I thought, yeah, I'll just do a Facebook Live. When you want to command a performance, when you want to command your audience or your ideal clients, you really need to do things A+ quality and top notch. I hired Measurable Genius to do just that for me. You can't see it, but the setup is like you are a movie star. I took myself up about 10 notches based on just the platform that they provide. They take care of everything. All I have to do, which I do the best, is speak. So if you are looking to get yourself out into the world, gain visibility, gain exposure, and quite frankly, grow your business and your bank account, you really need to hire these guys because Alex and the team are second to none. Every single point of this live stream has been covered and professionally done. It's not me with my selfie stick looking awesome. This has given me the opportunity to shine to my ideal clients, so I would absolutely encourage you to take advantage of their professionalism and all this equipment. It's really sexy, it makes you cool, and you will close more deals. So, trusting that you have a message to get out into the world, use these guys to do it.
Welcome back, everybody. I have Jason Meyer on the line with us. Jason, how are you?
Fantastic. Thanks, Alex. How you doing?
I'm really good. Thank you for being here. I know they just sorted out some technical issues and you're still here and we're on time, so I'm pleased about that.
My pleasure.
Would you just get a brief introduction? Who are you? What do you do? What company do you work for?
Yeah, my name's Jason Meyer. I'm owner and president of Hearth and Home Fireplace and Renovations. We're a home transformation company, so we specialize in understanding the customer's creative spark and the role that we play in helping that bring vision to life. So,
okay, awesome.
That's us. Yeah.
So you guys do fireplaces, you do renovations, you do a lot of cool stuff, right?
Absolutely. Yeah.
We've worked together for almost 4 years now, but we've really just dug into the application of the Rockefeller Habits for the last year or so.
Correct.
You're a unique case because I decided I really wanted to invest, and so we've spent a lot of time together. We've had weekly meetings. We've gone through the Rockefeller Habits step by step, inch by inch. Would you share with the audience what specifically was it at the beginning that compelled you to want to step in and take the risk and see what the Rockefeller Habits could do for your business?
I mean, I've been running the organization for 2+ years without any real strategy. So there was something upon my review of the Rockefeller Habits and our discussions that just the layout of it, the long-term vision of it, the 3 to 5 years out, it just really resonated with me. So the particular strategy, the execution parts, I mean, it was all, it felt like it was in alignment with my value structure. And boy, I really needed a plan, honestly, right? I really needed some strategy, and the Rockefeller Habits provided that.
So I hear that you needed a plan. What symptoms were you experiencing that led you to come to that conclusion? Because I think that many business owners are maybe experiencing challenges, but they don't see clearly how the challenges they're facing would necessarily lead to, oh, I don't have a plan, or it's the fact that the strategy is missing. Can you line that up?
Well, I mean, I had a pretty clear vision of where I wanted to go. The frustrating part for me was how I was going to get there. And so I knew intuitively that there were business models out there that could guide me, but I had no idea where to look. And in the day-to-day activities of running a business and putting out fires and facing the next challenge, just didn't make time to source out that type of material. So to be able to take my vision and put it into a strategy has been the biggest gift, really, from the Rockefeller Habits, right? Like now the vision seems more believable than it ever has been. Whereas for 2 years, the vision was there, but it was like, are we going to get there? How are we going to get there? Is this a divine act of God that needs to come into place? What's supposed to happen? How do businesses do this? All those sort of questions. So yeah, we're moving towards that vision right now.
Got it. So, I mean, I hear people say pretty frequently in the communities that I participate in that when the why is big enough, the house take care of themselves. But what I'm hearing from you is that that's not necessarily true.
Well, I mean, we've got a super creative, adaptable team. But you'd have like any business, you face a challenge, and then you get through that one, and then another one comes up. And right now, what we're doing is we're like organizing our challenges. So we get it. There's a challenge, but the challenges are all pointing us in the same direction, as opposed to just a solution for this particular challenge. And then the next one shows up with almost more of a hope that one day we would get to that vision through this. So, I guess I'm a believer that the universe provides us with the opportunities to grow. But boy, did I ever need some. It feels a lot better knowing that we're growing in the right direction instead of all over the place.
Got it. So I heard you say a minute ago that one of the things that's become clear to you is that you feel that you can see evidence that the goals you're setting are now achievable. Whereas before you had a clear vision, but you didn't have a sense that it was achievable. Can you tell the audience, like, what is it about the Rockefeller Habits that led you to have that evidence? Like, what is that? Because I think business owners don't see clearly that evidence or their own beliefs are part of what's keeping them from taking action. How did the Rockefeller Habits help you with that?
Well, I mean, the biggest win so far for us has been a one-page strategic plan, right? And the fact that I can break that vision down into, long-term 3 to 5 year, 1 year, and then quarterly applications. And so now I know this quarter we're working on the vision because it's all congruent, it all flows. So this organization has never had that sort of clarity before. For everyone in the organization on one page to be able to see where we're going long-term and actually get the vision, which was the first time to have the whole organization, understand what it is that we do and where we're going. And then on the far end of the spectrum, know what day-to-day activities support this long-term goal. So, I mean, it's profound. It really is. I mean, I'm blessed to have an organization that has had great buy-in. And, everybody has 2 or 3 different KPIs that they're working on to support our quarterly theme, which supports our yearly goals. It creates a sense of, it's stressful enough being a business owner. And this is one thing I don't have to worry about. It's more like, how do I tweak the plan instead of, is the plan right? So for me, that's just it takes away a certain level of uncertainty. It feels good to have some certainty in life once in a while.
Okay. So now I call that line of sight. You've summarized it really, really clearly. What I've heard is like, you don't just have a plan. It's not even just that you can see your plan and that you trust it, but you've gone beyond that, and your team has KPIs that are in line of sight to what's going to actually impact the business. And
absolutely.
So that's very tactical. Can you share with us some of the more specific or measurable outcomes that you've experienced because of how you've applied the Rockefeller Habits and created that line of sight?
Well, I mean, when we first got into the Rockefeller Habits, cash was king for us, right? So I'm not sure that the document that we fill out was able to help us identify that our cash flow was our primary concern. And then they have the cash conversion cycle and the power of one. And we engaged in that and monitored each and every one of those steps. And we're able to, turn our cash flow situation around quite a bit, actually, right? Really, it was really, really purposeful. And again, we kind of, over the last, this is funny because it's about 5 weeks ago, we kind of slipped away from some of the great habits that we had put into place. And sure enough, cash flow starts to slide into the same direction it was heading before. But we didn't have to reinvent the wheel here. We just pulled out the existing documents. We said, why did we stop doing things that we agreed to do? And within a week or two, everything was right back to where it needed to be, right? So that was a great lesson for me because I was kind of hoping you just put these things in once and that's it. But the fact that we could go back to it and expand upon it, and we had already outlaid the people who were accountable. So we didn't have to recreate anything. It was like, hey, you're accountable for this. This wasn't getting done. And they were like, yeah, my bad. I'm going to start doing it again. So powerful teaching tool and a way to just kind of, steer that big ship back in the right direction.
Well, and it sounds like you were able to do that with very minimal drama because it was clearly defined accountabilities that already existed.
Exactly. The accountabilities were there. The processes and procedures were there. We'd proven that they worked. And then it was just a matter of, just doing a little tweak to get everybody back to where it needed to be.
That's really great. So just one more question for you today, and then I will let you go. What do you see as the future for Hearth and Home? How has your sense of future changed? We've done this now for a year. What does 3 years out look like for you?
Yeah, well, we have our 3-year vision. That's what we said. Our one-page strategic plan is based around a 3-year vision, not 5. And it's just full of excitement, right? It really is. I mean, for the first time ever, Hearth and Home has a business strategy that everyone in the organization knows. For the first time ever, Hearth and Home has a vision and big, hairy, audacious goal and our values. And we talk and teach our values. For the first time ever, everyone in the organization has that. So I can't help but be excited to see, with our staying disciplined and staying creative, what we're going to look like in 3 years.
That's awesome. Before I let you go, what is one thing that you think the viewers need to hear? What do they need to know?
What do they need to know? I want to say they need to sit down with you. Well, no.
I'll send you your commission check when we're done.
Well, no, seriously, because the Rockefeller Habits weren't on my radar.
Yeah.
This wasn't on my radar. And you brought it into my sphere. And, as business owners, we're always a little bit wary of like, oh, what's coming in? Is this the right thing or is it not? But the beauty about the Rockefeller Habits is it's not a quick fix. It's not like something that's too good to be true. It absolutely takes work and discipline as well as creativity and they need to check it out. They need to check it out. I went for lunch with another friend who runs his own business, and he's part of a group now that is adopting the Rockefeller Habits. So he was going to introduce it to me, and I was like, oh man, I'm already 3-4 quarters in, right?
Yeah.
So word is out there, right?
Yeah.
Word is out that this is an effective tool, compounded with your commitment and your resilience and your passion and care. I think it's both halves of the tire. So
I really appreciate that.
Call Alex. Yeah.
Thank you for joining us today. Thank you for taking the time and hopping on the call. I really appreciate you sharing with us.
My pleasure, man.
We'll talk to you soon, of course.
Sounds great.
All right.
Thanks,
Bye, Jason.
everybody.
Thanks a lot.
Yeah.
Oh, how do I get unhooked from this headphone? I stuck it down my collar. All right. Let's do this, guys. Okay, so I hope that you guys take away that this is not a quick fix, as Jason said, right? He has now worked with me. We've done this now for more than a year. It's been a little while. And it's been tremendous to see the transformation. Honestly, I have a need to feel validated in my life, and I often find it difficult to have an appreciation for the impact that that me and my team make for our clients, and I can be a little bit dense. So sometimes it's hard for me to receive evidence, but it's impossible for me to receive evidence or to not see the evidence of transformation when a business owner exclaims a sense of excitement, who has a sense that the future has more opportunity, that we can achieve more in the future than we have already, and that we're beginning to dissolve some skepticism, we're beginning to dissolve barriers, we're starting to get hyper congruent in terms of the mission and the values and the goals that are aligned with what's going to make a difference for that business. So super cool to have him. I feel like this is going pretty good so far. How are we doing, Warren?
I feel good.
Yeah? Message us in the chat. I would love to hear from you guys. What have you learned so far? Has there been something specific that we've talked about? And I'll take an opportunity to answer any questions in the next segment while we cover this next topic. So let's jump into that next topic, which is this. Ultimately, vision is essential, but you're not going to go anywhere if you don't act on it. Just like Jason said, if the why is big enough, the hows take care of themselves. I guess so, eventually, especially if you hire someone like us. We find that there's a lot of tactical, practical thinking that's necessary for a business owner to really expedite their transformation when they're breaking down their long-term goals into 90-day bite-sized chunks. And so the best way for you to be able to act on your vision is ultimately to get that thing down on paper, to define from the most macroscopic all the way through to what you're going to work on and focus on today on paper. And you can do this on your own. You can hop into a conference room with your team. You can equip yourself with an agenda. And all it takes is your willingness to dedicate the time, energy, attention, and money on developing a plan. I think that's silly because it's wiser to invest in a facilitator and a coach. Obviously, I'm interested in helping business owners find their story, acquire new leads, and scale their business. And I believe the way to do that is through the application of these habits. So I'm just going to take a moment to invite you guys. We're going to make an offer really quickly before we jump into the next phase of the live stream workshop today. All right? On, better say the right day, on September 7th, 2018, which is a Friday, we are hosting a one-day, 90-day business planning workshop here in Calgary, Alberta. We teach these workshops out of SAIT on 16th Avenue. It's a one-day intensive, and I say intensive because we've taken 2 days of an agenda, which at Measurable Genius we cram to finish, and I boil it down to a day of absolutely intense planning. You show up in the morning with nothing or last quarter's plan, and you leave with next quarter's plan, and you're ready to indoctrinate your culture. You're ready to recruit your team. We cover all of the columns of the one-page strategic plan. We dive into whatever rabbit holes are going to serve best the participants, and we help business owners get absolutely clear on the key strategic components that are going to help them move the needle. Now, I haven't mentioned this yet in the workshop, but I'd like to let you know that many of you are focused on marketing as a high priority in your business. And marketing services is something that Measurable Genius focuses on, and that's not what today's presentation is about. But I bring it up because marketing is strategy. The reason you're not able to acquire new leads, the reason you're not able to ramp up your marketing engine, the reason your marketing doesn't feel congruent or inspiring, the reason you're focused on services, products, and features is because you haven't yet figured out how to communicate your core values, your brand's mission, your big, hairy, audacious goal, and the supporting structural components in a marketing story that makes sense for your buyers. And you're not alone. Business owners all around the world struggle with this every day. And I'd like to let you know that simply investing the time in this workshop is going to transform the marketing game for you also. Because instead of now focusing on what you need to do tomorrow, you're going to be able to extract what means the most to you in the long term and share that in whatever way is going to be best to acquire new leads in your business. So you're going to leave the workshop with a plan, and you're going to have begun to build the foundation for your storytelling, your brand, and your marketing moving forward. What could be better than that, right? And every quarter you attend, it gets better. Now, here's the deal. I'm just going to quickly walk you through. Can you toss that offer up, Warren? Is the offer up? Can we put it up? There's going to be a button that shows up on your screen right now. Click that. It's going to take you to this page, which we're going to share with you. And I'd like you to buy a ticket. Here's the deal. We do have an offer. I'm getting an error. I will push the button, Warren. How's that sound? You're welcome. No worries, guys. Just give me a sec. I'm going to make this easy for you. Click, 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 activate. Boom. Let's see if it showed up. All right, it's on there now. So click that button to register. Now, normally, I would tell you to register your entire executive team, and I'm still going to say that to you today. It's critical that you bring your executive leadership team with you to this event. So I'm going to make an offer for you that's exclusive to this live stream workshop. I swear to God, we're not offering this anywhere else. If you register right now, can you just share my screen? When you click that button, you're going to land here on this screen. And what I want you to do is buy one ticket. Just buy one for yourself. Register yourself for this event. And within 48 hours, my team, Jennifer or Everett, or maybe even me, I'm not sure yet, we're going to reach out to you and we're going to enroll the rest of your leadership or your executive team for free. Okay? That's one ticket, $497, and you can bring all of the people who are critical to the decision making and the business planning in your company. I don't know how that can get better. I don't think that deal can get any better. I mean, there was an early bird that's expired, as you can see. Click through, buy one ticket, okay? Anybody have any questions? Let's dive into questions. No, there's no questions yet. Fine then. All right. Who's having fun so far? Has this been good? We really want to make sure that you guys receive value. So let me know, you got any questions, what you want to know about the workshop, what you want to know about business planning. If you guys want to hear anything before I get up and jump into the next section of content, now would be the time. What is something that we can make sure people know? So here's one thing that I think will really make a difference. At the workshop, we're going to go through an exercise that I learned from my mentor, Dr. John DeMartini, called the value determination process. The reason we're going to do this is because what I realized is that ultimately, as the visionary and the business owner, the business leader, you are essentially the reason that that business exists. You've built your business because something about your business resonates with you, has meaning to you. Your business is essentially an externalization of what your values demonstrate are important to you in life. You take those things that are meaningful or that you're compelled to change in the world, you build a business around it, and you share that. Now, when people write business values down, when people do their mission statement and they define their long-term objectives, one of the most significant mistakes that I believe people make is they define the values or the mission statement of their business based on hyperbolic bullshit or corporate brand value crap that doesn't really align with their sense of individuality, or they make their mission statement or their value statements moral or ethical instead of contextual. So what I mean by that is this. My highest values in life are essentially prioritization and activation. I talk about prioritization more than I talk about everything else combined. I've built a business dedicated to the service of prioritization. This entire live stream workshop is about prioritization. The entire 90-day business planning workshop is about prioritization. The reason we've built a marketing agency and the reason we're investing in video production is because it's the most prioritized and efficient way to create and extract value and to produce content in the world. I am a prioritization machine, and so as you can see, the values of measurable genius are congruent with that. It looks like this. We invest and we embody incremental progress. We invest and we embody long-term vision. We invest in education and culture. We start with why, right? We do these things and we do them over and over again through our behavior because it's naturally and automatically the most congruent and authentic nature that I can possibly express. And so what I've done is I have found a way to take human behavior, extract your ontology, those critical core values that are most meaningful and important to you, and we're going to turn those into your key core company values, and those values are going to change the game for you in your marketing, your planning, your strategy, and your whole life. I'm just saying, it's going to change the game. So you can't come to this workshop and not make your $500 back. And honestly, if you don't make your $500 back in the next 60 days, I'll give you a refund because I'm so sure you're not going to call me about it. All right? So there's no reason for you not to buy this. Buy the tickets. Register your entire leadership team. If you don't have a formal business leadership team, bring your life partner. They count if you take in their opinions and their inputs on what you should do with your life. We have some flexibility here. I don't make money on these events. I want to serve my clients. Our clients are going to be in the room. Jason's whole team will be there. We just want you to join our community of business owners dedicated to mastering the Rockefeller Habits because I know it's going to change your life. I just know it is, and so that's all I'm going to say about it. All right? Are we good to move on from the offer section? Warren, do you feel that I've missed anything?
No.
Okay. So here's what we're going to do, guys. I have to run to the washroom. We're going to run back downstairs, and we're going to do the next segment of content. I'm about to do the overview on the one-page strategic plan and how you can apply the one-page strategic plan to your business, how it will become a portal and a gateway for you to transform your culture, your business, and your whole life. And then we're going to interview Mrs. Donna Korth with Korth Group, a business that has applied the Rockefeller Habits incrementally over time, that has spent some time breaking down the one-page strategic plan, and who has focused through the one-page strategic plan on reprioritizing and really getting some stuff done in scaling up their company. So we're going to run a commercial. I'm going to pee. We're going to go downstairs, and we're going to jump into the next section. Go. If you do not wake up and set an intention and say, these are my values, this is my skill set, this is what I'm doing, you will automatically be consumed by your team and by your customers and by your emails and Facebook Messenger and everything else. And by the time you're done reacting, you're going to go to bed and be like, well, how come I didn't have any time for me today? How come I feel run down? How come I feel tired? How come I feel disorganized? How come I feel chaotic? How come I feel distressed? How come I feel stressed? How come I feel I'm not making progress? For those of you who believe that the path towards your business righteousness is to do this low priority shit and eventually it's going to go away, you're mistaken. It's never going to go away. To the degree I give myself permission to be freed of low priority actions in my business, the business grows. Nobody on the planet is going to give you permission. Nobody's going to parachute. Jesus ain't going to like come down from the sky, like pop through these windows, be like, yo, it's time to claim your future. I'm here to give you permission. Oh wait, no, that was me. I just did that. You have permission. My name is Alexander Ford, and I'm not going to take up much of your time. This is simply an invitation. If you're a business owner in Calgary, Alberta, and you want to deploy a planning infrastructure, if you want to feel like you have a strategy for your company, a plan that actually gives you certainty into your highest priorities and action steps for the next 90 days, you need to attend our event. My intention is for you to change your whole life. My intention is for you to have productive quarters, quarter after quarter after quarter after quarter, instead of feeling like you wasted half a decade going nowhere. Hey, what's up? We're back. I'm just drawing the one-page strategic plan. Just give me 1 second. 7 columns. Got it right. Okay, so welcome back, guys. For those of you just joining us or joining midstream, welcome to the introduction to the Rockefeller Habits workshop. This is a live stream, actually live, not evergreen, and we are about to talk about how the one-page strategic plan is going to transform how you approach, look at, and plan your business in 90-day chunks. All right, so let's reestablish some context real quick. First and foremost, the one-page strategic plan is a document that emerges as a result of your participation in a quarterly rhythm called the 90-day business planning workshop. It's a workshop because I deliver it, but let's just go ahead and call that a 90-day business planning session, because you can equally perform these sessions internally with your team. Whatever it may be, you every 90 days apply a planning discipline to your business whereby we review, update, and then author the quarterly action steps that are going to move the business forward. Okay? It's point in time because every quarter parts of the plan are going to change. So let's quickly define the columns so that you have a sense of how this document is going to evolve over time. We have at the very far left-hand side, we have essentially the immortal component. I say immortal because this is the column that contains the core company values, which, as I just mentioned in the previous segment, is essentially an expression of what is most meaningful and important to you. All right? We then step in just one level, all the way from immortal. All right? This is literally infinity. So we're just going to come in one step from infinity in terms of a time and space horizon, and we're going to define the profit per X, the key economic indicator in your business, otherwise known as a flywheel by Jim Collins in Good to Great. We're going to define your big, hairy, audacious goal. And that's one step inside infinity, because the minute this becomes achievable, you need to grow it. It needs to be beyond what's reasonably possible, okay? We're also going to set out some framework, how you're going to live the company values in the business. These are perpetual efforts that you're investing in as a company to bring your values, your mission, and your BHAG to life in the organization. We're also going to talk about the mission of the business. And again, we're one step in from infinity, and that one step is like more immortally phrased than the BHAG. So the BHAG, for example, in Measurable Genius, is to contribute $1.1 billion in services to the marketplace by delivering $100 million in services revenue to our clients, whereby they experience a 10x return. So I contribute $100 million to the marketplace. I deliver a 10x return to my clients, which means they produce $1 billion. We put those together to contribute $1.1 billion to the market. All right? Basically impossible. However, our mission statement is to help you find your story, acquire new leads, and scale your business, which essentially will never be done. Can you see the difference? One is like you could almost or probably not, but maybe do it. The other one is you're always going to do it. no matter how big or in what specific way. Okay? We step in one more level and we really focus on long-term thrusts. This is where we pick a 3 to 5 year window once. So this isn't like every time you look at the sheet, you pick a 3 to 5 year window. I mean, you decide. You come to the business planning workshop, you sit down, Alexander says, are you going to build 3-year plans, 4-year plans, or 5-year plans? And write those down. And once you've written them, say you picked 3, like Jason Meyer just said, he picked 3. That has a date ending, let's say 2021. That means until these 5 goals are achieved in the next 3 years, we're not picking the next 3 to 5 year interval. So as we approach the end of 2021, Jason will get to decide if he's going to pick another 3-year time and space horizon, or if he's going to expand that time and space horizon to 4 years or 5 years. The impact on that is that it constrains or allows flexibility in the goal setting. So you're going to pick 5 things that you're going to achieve in the next 3 to 5 years. The 5 things that you can achieve in 3 years are less than the 5 things you can achieve in 5 years. And so that's where you get to personalize the one-page strategic plan, but once you've picked it, you're committed and we're going to go with it until it's done. All right, next. We break that 3, 4, or 5 year thrust into 1-year goals. Those 1-year goals represent the 5 steps which are most impactful in helping you achieve one or many of the 5 things that you're going to achieve in the 3 to 5 years. Does that make sense? And that 3 to 5 year thrust is one set of things that's going to help you achieve your BHAG. See where we're going with this? Fun. So that's the left-hand side. That's the left-hand side of the one-page strategic plan, because it's actually 2 8.5 11s stuck together. Warren, you want to show it? You want to put that up there? Let's just show them real quick. There we go. Okay, so as you can see, it's like 1 page, but it's like 2 8.5 by 11s, all right? So these 4 columns I've just covered, they're on the left, and the ones on the right is what changes every quarter. So this section right here is where we sit down once per quarter, ahead of the quarter, and we ask the following questions. What are the 5 significant obstacles, challenges, opportunities, or rocks that we're going to take on this quarter as a company to move the business forward? This quarter. And then these 5 goals become the religion, okay? This is how we and our clients get such a massive amount of work done. I hope you can see, like, this live stream production, for example, is no small feat. We have 7 team members. Half of them are in this building right now. I run an IT services practice. I have a marketing division. We're building websites. I've got live streams booked. We've got stuff happening, and yet we still achieve 5 major business development priorities every single quarter, plus the random crazy crap Alexander adds. Right? Warren, you know what I'm talking about? Sure. It's crazy, all right? I just like to have some feedback because actually there's no chat down here. So here's the deal. This part of the one-page strategic plan, this quarterly section is where you get to have all the fun. Bring me back, Warren. I want to get intimate here for a second. What I'm trying to tell you is all that's necessary for you to change the game in your sense of progress in life, your sense in your collection of evidence that you're successful in life, is as simple as choosing to write down ahead of the time the things you're probably going to do this quarter. That's all it takes. Let me fill you in on like a neurochemical thing that happens. If you don't set goals and then you achieve them, you get no reward, no dopamine, no oxytocin, no like serotonin. There's no fun things happening for you. In fact, even if you're achieving things, if you never write them down so you have no point of reference, not only are you not producing the happy chemicals, you're likely producing the anxiety chemicals, right? Here's a huge game changer. Regardless of what you put in the plan, if you write your goals and then you achieve them, you produce oxytocin and dopamine. Your space and time horizons in your mind expand. You give yourself permission to take on greater challenges. You reveal to yourself what you're capable of. You create evidence and culture for teamwork in your business. You enroll your team and your culture into initiatives that demonstrate to them line of sight. Line of sight, meaning you can take these 5 goals and turn them into personalized accountabilities for each team member, just like Jason Meyer talked about. You can define key performance indicators that these team members follow on a daily or weekly basis that show them if they're doing a good job or not. And you can demonstrate to them that these 5 actions and these KPIs have a clear line of sight to the rocks that you've chosen for the quarter. You can then see clearly that these 5 rocks are helping you to move your 1-year goals forward. You can see as you achieve your 1-year goals that they're moving your 3-year goals forward. And you can see as you achieve your 3-year thrusts that your mission, your BHAG, your key performance indicators at the company level, and the values of the organization are being totally fulfilled. And when you create that line of sight, that sense of congruency, the communicated clarity, when you reveal that data to the mind, which is largely a computer you have no control over, it changes how it computates your reality. In fact, many of you operate in a paradigm that says, I'll believe it when I see it. And in reality, if we see it before we believe it, we're more likely to achieve it, right? Napoleon Hill says, whatever the mind can conceive and believe, it can achieve. Well, have you presented a 1-page strategic plan to your mind? Have you articulated a clear vision? Have you investigated the specific results you'd like to achieve in your life? Like, have you articulated them? Have you written them down? Have you worked as a team to coalesce them? Have you identified the little rough edges and the corners you need to round off that make it make sense to you? Because as soon as it makes sense in the mind, you can make sense of it in the world, okay? So, this is the 1-page strategic plan. I left my lesson plan. Can someone bring it to me? Thanks. Are there any questions? If you have questions, keep them. I'll come back to the desk. We'll address them later. I just want to talk about some objections. So you might have, thanks, Stephen. You might have some objections for the 1-page strategic plan. I just want to make sure I'm covering. The page, important detail, long term. All right, I've covered it all. Okay, let's bring it up just one more time, Warren. Let's throw it up there. This can be overwhelming. I get it. There's a lot of empty boxes. So let's just take it step by step. Let's focus on values, and let's work on communicating them to the team. Let's figure out 5 ways, well, not even 5. Let's figure out a few different ways you can bring those values to life in the organization. Let's articulate the mission statement and the BHAG in a way that you believe resonates or that you feel resonant with, so that you can begin to use that in your marketing communications language. And then let's just create the space and the context. Because at the end of the day, the only way to escape day to day is to focus, to bring your attention outside of that to a wider context that's going to help you see and break down these challenges bit by bit into something that you can look at today. So let's just walk through something that Jason mentioned on the live stream, where the interview that we just had. He said specifically, he said, we figured out a thing, we created systems, we created stuff that went with it. And then over time, a few of our team members drifted away from those principles, okay? And then they discovered that there was a challenge, and it's as simple as this. Let's return to the 1-page strategic plan. Let's review what we've already determined is most meaningful and important. Let's figure out what the delta is in terms of where we're at and what we said we wanted to achieve. And like this, the business owner can determine what the next priority is. How many of you wake up with stress or anxiety? Or how many of you have moments where you're feeling stress or anxiety because you're not sure what you should be doing next, or you're not sure what the next highest priority action is? And every time you enter that psychology, it feels like an existential crisis, doesn't it? Right? If I don't know what I should do next, do I know what I'm doing at all? And the reality is it does end up sort of binary like that, right? It is sort of a binary experience. You either know your highest priority or you don't. You're either aligned with your highest priority or you're not. You're either doing the most meaningful and important actions or you aren't. It's hard to find a middle ground on that. So let's just take a second and ask, what is the highest priority thing that you could do right now? Well, if you don't know your priorities, there's no higher priority you could engage in but to prioritize, okay? For those of you who do not have a plan, the most highly prioritized thing that you can do is engage in planning. If you don't have a plan, if you don't know your priorities, you need to prioritize. That's just how it is. To bring priority to your life, you must engage in prioritization. So that's why we stress so heavily the 90-day business planning cadence, because at that quarterly plan, you'll fill in these boxes and you'll leave a few empty. And then next quarter, once you've achieved 3 to 5 of your rocks and you've made a tremendous difference, you're going to be looking at this one-page strategic plan again through new eyes, with new experience, new evidence, new results, new clarity, new certainty, and new feedback that you can then apply to fill in empty boxes, to refine the boxes you've filled in, and to clarify and become more specific in the boxes that you've already written down that you want to change. In fact, maybe you set out 5 one-year goals. At the next quarterly planning, you might choose to replace one, and that's perfectly okay. But what's important is that when you're not at the planning, you can refer to the plan. And more importantly, you're able to be clear with yourself, with your team, and with your business about the accountabilities that are necessary to move the company forward. By putting it all on paper, by putting it all on a plan, you can get your company on one page because you'll finally have the page, okay? I hope that makes sense. I hope that you're finding value in that, and I hope you can see that this is not just a meaningless exercise. I know it sounds boring, and I know if you've got fires going on in your life, that this is unappealing. It's unappealing to go focus on planning when you feel that you don't have time to plan. But it's sort of like people who attend or don't attend seminars, right? The people who need it the most often don't go, and the people who don't need it are there the most. For those of you who have not yet jumped into the psychology that planning as a behavior in and of itself is like the thing you need to do. We're going to talk to Donna about the Rockefeller Habits and the one-page strategic plan. She is the, I think, Vice President Operations. We have a lower third for her. We'll display that. We'll see if I'm right or not. She's been a client of ours now for almost 4 years. Again, she was a client who started in IT services with us, and over the course of 3 years, chose to step into the Rockefeller Habits and invest in business planning with us. So just like last time, I'm going to take just a couple minutes to get ready to orientate myself with her. I believe we've got a commercial lined up, so we're going to take a quick commercial break, and when I come back, we're going to chat with Donna Korth with Korth Group. See you in a second.
Hey, what's up? My name's Dr. Nima Rahmani, and it was 18 months ago that I transitioned out of my brick and mortar practice into the online world, where I started consulting with Alexander Ford and the Measurable Genius team. The reason why I've been working with them ever since is because Alex isn't just a tech nerd, although he's very good at that. He's more of a business strategist. He just gets it. He understands. He has this uncanny ability. If you sit down with him, I challenge you, sit down with him and chat with him about what your challenges are, what the problems are in your business. As far as strategy goes, as far as tech, if you just sit down with him and share with him what are the problems that you're going through, he knows exactly the steps to take in order to solve them, not just from a tech standpoint, but from a strategy standpoint. He's a polymath. One of the greatest experiences that I had in working with him was when he sat down with my whole team and we created a 90-day business plan with measurable outcomes and milestones and what he calls KPI. I still don't know what a KPI is, but I trust that he's actually on it. He knows how to keep me accountable. He knows the difference between accountability and responsibility, and he knows how to teach you how to implement it in your business and then measure the results and make the tweaks, as he likes to call it, incremental progress along the way, which is very important for somebody like me who's extremely impatient. I'm extremely emotional. I can reach out to him and they can get me back into my alignment with my business so that I can go back to serving my clients, which is what I do best, not that technical stuff. So my suggestion to you is to set up a call with him and tell him everything that's not working in your business, and just sit back and watch him draw up on a whiteboard exactly how to get from where you're at to where you want to go, and all of the problems that are going to be in the way, which are usually the owner themselves, me. He's got the tools and the training how to sift through what you're saying and get to the underlying intention behind what you're doing. And he does it beautifully, and he actually gives a crap about it. In other words, he's probably one of my biggest fans. Him and his team have assembled things not because I've asked, but because he knew that that's what was missing, and he just said, oh, by the way, this is what you need. Boom, I took the liberty in creating that for you, and I was like blown away. And so I can't say enough about Measurable Genius and Alex and the whole team, and of course Jen, who keeps him in check. And I encourage you to just set up a call with him and tell him what's not working, and just sit back and watch the magic happen.
Welcome back, guys. Thank you for taking the time to watch that commercial. I have Donna Korth with me. Donna, welcome to the show. Thank you for being here.
Thank you.
Would you like to just take a second, introduce yourself? How do you know us? What do you got? Well, first of all, let me slow this down. Who are you? What do you do? How did we end up working together? Give us a little bit of an introduction.
Okay, Donna Korth, Vice President of Operations of a Canadian distribution company. So we distribute product to retail stores across Canada. Can you hear me okay, Alexander?
We can, yeah.
So I guess back 3+ years ago, it came to a point where our IT responsibilities and requests were becoming beyond what I was able to function with. Up to that time, we did our own in-house IT. So we're reaching out for somebody who could offer us an all-inclusive IT package, which Measurable has been able to do that quite successfully. And, with new things, there's always trials and tribulations through it, but we've worked through a lot of processes, and we have a very smooth running process. So there's a lot of logistics involved in our environment. So shipping products across Canada to customers, business to business customers. And so that entails a lot of IT work, software, those types of things. So that is the major part of the responsibility, and then looking for new resources to help us assist with our business. So in comes Measurable Genius, and time comes by to where we are today, which is a new interesting journey that we've gone on now with engaging with the Rockefeller Habits.
So there was this moment that I remember, because one of the most challenging things that I face is trying to change existing clients. Often new clients are pretty easy to sort of tell how it is. And existing clients have an idea of who we are, right? Like, we met 3.5 years ago. We were a certain way. We offered a certain set of products and services. And then over the course of time, while we were providing you with those IT services, I began to develop this offering. And I was pushing on it, just trying to get our existing clients enrolled. And you guys were one of them. And so I was pretty persistent, right? Like, I started approaching you with this after about 2 years, but it took you about a year to say, okay, I'll try this thing out. We'll come to a 90-day planning workshop. What was it specifically that provoked you to take the leap and to try it out?
The size of our company was one thing. So when you gravitate to a different level in business and you continue to do the same practices that you've been doing for years, you come up with all kinds of challenges. And I don't think it matters if you're a small business trying to become a medium business, whatever a small and medium business may mean to you. It's just the changes that happen over that. And we were starting to find a lot of fallout. There wasn't enough communication in the business. We weren't quite sure where we were headed. There were so many things coming at us, and Alexander, you can relate to that and a lot of the work was done from the top level. So the president and vice president were responsible for so much of the functionality of our company. And so for Terry and I, not young people in the industry, we found this very challenging and a big change for this, because there was a time when we could do it all. We wanted to do it all. I didn't have Alexander and Measurable Genius doing the IT. And I think you slowly see things starting to not work the same. You can't get the same job done. And I said to Alexander, it's like something's missing. Like, what is missing? And he kept talking about the Rockefeller Habits, and he kept talking about a business plan. And I said, well, we've done business plans, but I think people do business plans. They start working their business, and then they don't bring the plan along with the business, and then they keep growing and growing and growing. joining Rockefeller Habits. Now we're on the, I think we're going to be soon getting into the third. I think it was the biggest challenge for us was getting our management team to sit down and work together. So we are working. So the first 3 months, it was putting a lot of stuff on paper, trying to understand the focus. What is it you're trying to do and where do you want to go from here? Those are the most important things. I think I want to skip ahead because I'm not really sure how long this interview is. The stand-up part of the Rockefeller Habits has made huge strides with her company in terms of we have 10 of our sales team working across Canada at remote office locations.
Yep.
And they were incredibly disjointed from the communications in our operations center. And now that's brought everybody together every day, understanding what people's priorities are. I think it's helping the people in the field see what we're doing to help promote our business to them, where we have total disengagement before that. So stand-up was important, and this morning I'd like to point to our stand-up.
Sure, go ahead.
Standing there, and I have 6 top priorities for today, and you're not supposed to have 6 top priorities, but we've had some critical things come in the business since Friday, very critical things. And so I looked at the team and I said, today I'm giving you 6 priorities that I have, and I'm reaching out to anybody who can help me with these. So anybody that would like to help me with these priorities, can you stay after stand up? And I had 4 people come and stand back after stand up and offer their assistance. Just having that resource, I didn't have it before. I would have been running around, who can do this? Or I tried to do it myself and work a 14-hour day. Hopefully that helps with people trying to figure out whether you make the decision. Just make the decision, go work the plan. It's not easy. It takes time, and we all make mistakes when we try things new, and I think you just keep trying it, you keep pushing it, and when you see little openings of light happening, and today was huge for me.
It's really important, I think, that you should talk about, because you've been doing daily stand-up. Stand-up was something you expressed challenge with. You asked me to come in, we spent some time with your team, and they've really enrolled. Like, yeah, you're welcome. They've really enrolled, and I think that the team gets it, but I totally understand that, because it's like, oh, okay, there's kind of 2 ways to look at the meetings. There's 2 ways to look at the discipline of having to honor the one-page strategic plan. It's like, all right, it is extra work. I'm feeling extra work, and sometimes it's not motivating. But other times it's like, okay, I can't wait for stand-up because I've got this problem I want solved, right? I can't wait for the weekly meetings because I've been waiting to talk to this person about this business development objective. And so it's like, you know, the times where you're most questioning of it are the times that it's often working the best. Would you agree? Like, it's
like it just happens. It just happened. I thought, you know, and it doesn't mean that the line is cut and dry, stand up has 3 priorities, whatever. I took that opportunity today to ask my team for help. Sorry.
No problem.
And I took that opportunity to ask for help, and I saw these people reaching out because they, sorry guys, that was just my phone. I think that we forget to ask for help. We forget to reach out to our people. We figure nobody can do the job like us. Right? It needs to be done perfect. And I think that's another awakening for Terry and myself, is sometimes the job just doesn't have to be exactly like you would have done it. It's about getting the job done. It's about bringing your team together. And I think that when you reach out for that help, guided by the plan, people start to feel more engaged, saying, oh, they're doing something. This is great. And then we get the buy-in from our staff, and it's starting to grow now. You're starting to see some movement on that.
So one of the things I would love to ask, we do have just a couple more minutes. There was a moment when we were working through the one-page strategic plan, and we ended up on one of the boxes, which was the profit per X box, and we were discussing the different ways to measure Korth Group's key economic denominator. Do you remember that? And we were talking about how we would measure the entire business against one profit per X. We were exploring what X might be. And in your case, we ended up suggesting and exploring the concept that Korth Group's key economic indicator was the profit per square foot of warehouse space.
Right.
And I remember that moment because I had the opportunity to see a bunch of light bulbs go off. Would you share with us, like, I know you guys haven't necessarily gone really tactical with that, but I do remember there being moments of insight. Can you share how the practice of simply going through the one-page strategic plan led us to that, and what impact that has had.
You're talking about the actual market value of the warehouse, right? I think we started looking at a lot of things, net margin, and we really took some time to really figure out that in order for our company to make money, we looked at, would it be more sales opportunities? Would it be more marketing? Would it be more, but how do we really make money? So you really have to dig down to the, how do you build a house that's built on a foundation, right? So the foundation of our business is the availability to store product in our warehouse so that we can sell it off to customers, right? And so when we came to that theory, we started really looking at the warehouse, and we don't have that number yet because it is quite complicated. We have less than 30,000 square feet of warehouse. So for some people that may be large, and for other people that are on this call, it may not be large. It is large to us, and we believed it to be reasonably full until we had this conversation. So now we look at our warehouse, and I go back there now and I go, okay, this is what we can do, and I'm sure that we have room for this many more product lines. Now we have the work to go out and find those product lines. So I think it opened the door to say, this isn't done yet. And it also opened the door for potential of perhaps building another piece under a building, which that would be long-term, 5 years. But I think it just changed our whole thought process of how far we can go to increase our business, even with the facility that we have today.
That's exactly what I was hoping you would say, because it was easy to overlook, and it was just part of the agenda. We're just going through it box by box.
Yes.
And then we ended up on that box, and that one question had the capacity to potentially change your whole future.
Right. And it took a few of us to come up with the theory. Like, we didn't just, oh, this is what we need to do, because we tried. I think you're always focused on sales, marketing, and we forget to go back to the beginning. Like, how do we increase from the beginning? How is our business functioning? So the operations, all those other things always happen, but what is allowing your company to do sales is an important question. When you get down to that, you go, okay, it is our warehouse space. We can increase our business. So it was a very good exercise.
That's really great. One last question. For the viewers that are watching today, we've made an offer that they should come out to the 90-day business planning workshop. Would you share with the audience, like, why should they come to the workshop? What do they need to know? Tell them, what should they do?
I think you should just come to the workshop with an open mind. You're going to gather a lot of information that day, and you're probably going to feel a little bit confused. But the opportunity to share with other people and talk with them and understand what they were doing, because we went through it. We're business owners of 40 years, and we walked into this presentation, and there's a lot of information to take in. But when you take it in and you sit down, and Alexander's an amazing facilitator, so when you get stuck, you call them in, because we also get stuck on belief systems. We get stuck on old belief systems, and I think it actually opens up your mind and broadens your belief system and horizon, and it's connection with the people there. You get a whole bunch of people connected in a room working on the same types of things, and different groups turn on light bulbs. If you've ever heard that sound before, all of a sudden a light bulb turns on, and you go, oh, I didn't think about it that way. So I invite everybody to come with a very open mind. It doesn't matter what level you carry in the company. Everybody has some really good valid points to make. And I think our whole team realized that after the first one, and more so after the second meeting. We left, we went for drinks, and actually reminisced about the things that we went through that day that we never would have done, I don't believe, had we attended that seminar. People don't take the time to do it. It's like making an appointment to go to the doctor. If you don't make your appointment to go to the doctor, you're never going to go to the doctor. So make your appointment to go to this Rockefeller class and attend. And I'm absolutely sure everybody will benefit from that.
Thank you, Donna. And you brought this is no small investment. Like, you brought listen, your employee overhead is the most expensive item on your balance sheet besides your cost of goods, right? And you guys made the choice not just once, but now more than once to bring like 6 or 7 full-time paid team members to this workshop, right? You guys, like you bring 7 people to an 8-hour workshop, you're putting 85 or 90 man hours into that workshop. And so, you know, I appreciate
thank you.
I appreciate that because that's an investment. And it's like, you know, I'm like, it's a $500 ticket. Well, it's a $500 ticket plus 9 people worth of salary, you know?
Right.
And you've made that investment not once, not twice, but you continue to, and it's making a difference in your business. So thank you for doing that. Thank you for creating the evidence. Thank you for joining us today.
All right,
We'll let you get back to work. Yeah, you're awesome. Really appreciate it, Donna. Thanks a lot.
Okay, have a good day.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye. Okay. Cool, guys. So that was Mrs. Donna Korth. Super glad that she chose to share that with us. I actually had the opportunity to meet them through their son. Jordan Korth and I share a mentor, a common mentor. And it was in South Africa at a workshop we were in together where he said, I got to introduce you to my dad. And that's how we ended up. So really awesome to work with them. They're a super great team. And they're receiving that return on their investment. They're really just chipping away. And I could ask for nothing more. So that's Donna. Thank you, thank you, thank you. So we're almost done, guys. I have one more thing that I want to talk to you about today, which is why you need to come to the workshop and get your one-page strategic plan started, right? And for those of you who've been before, please come back. For those of you watching this for the first time, this is your opportunity. We're going to throw that call to action button back up on the screen, and I'm inviting you to invest in purchasing a ticket to attend our 90-day business planning workshop in Calgary, Alberta on September 7th. It will be hosted at SAIT on 16th Ave, and we're going to spend the day together doing exactly what Donna described, which is showing up, not because you necessarily want to, not because it's necessarily going to be a whole lot of fun, although those two things are probably true. It is a lot of fun. We have a lot of fun, but we really grind it. We really get the work done in the room so that you can leave and you don't have to worry about doing it again, right? Like, eat the frog first. Show up at the workshop. It's going to look something like this. Click the button. It's on your screen. Come here, purchase one ticket, and within the next 48 hours, one of my team members is going to reach out to you, and we're going to invite you to bring your entire leadership team at no additional cost, okay? Donna Korth chose to bring 6 people to that workshop because she has 6 key players on her executive leadership team, okay? Here's why that's important. They come to the workshop and they work together. They get a plan that makes sense, that isn't challenged, that they've worked out the details on, and then they go back to their business as a unified front. If you don't bring your business partner or you don't bring your executive team members, you're going to get all the work done, you're going to go back to the business, and they're going to ask you a question, and there's some potential that the whole plan is just going to unwind because there's some variable, something that you missed out on, some issue that prevents that plan from being actionable. We don't want that to happen. So for today only, on this live stream broadcast, when you purchase your ticket to attend this workshop, you will receive access for any and all of those team members who are on your executive team to come with you, all right? If you guys have any questions, now is a really great time for you to be posting them. I would love to answer any questions that you guys have that will help you in getting to the workshop or that will address any specific objections that you've got. I would really, really, really love for you to come. It's one day, and I guarantee you're going to make your $500 back. It's impossible for you not to. We have so much evidence now. We've done this 3 times. This is our 4th workshop, our 4th quarter of live workshop events where we have many, many business owners who are all dedicated to mastering the Rockefeller Habits attend together, okay? So I really want to help you find your story, acquire new leads, and scale your business. I want to help you over the next 3 to 5 years exponentially outperform your competitors. I want you to build the life and the business of your dreams. I want you to feel that the goals that you have for your life are actionable, possible, and within sight. I want to help you formulate a vision in your mind that you can see and believe, and so then therefore you can achieve. I want you to feel empowered in your life because you've done the disciplines and the rituals that create evidence for your success. And by collecting that evidence together, by working as a team, you'll be able to significantly outperform your previous history, your previous selves, and other people in the market in the same space as you. The one-page strategic plan will help you find your story. It will help you find your ability to story tell. It will reveal what truly is most important and meaningful to you so that you can cultivate and wrap that with context that is going to exponentially increase the quality of your brand in the market and exponentially empower you to share that meaning and become a messenger espousing the gospel of your business to the world, right? And that's critical. When you get a one-page strategic plan down on paper, and when you begin to achieve those goals, when you begin to create a sense of mastery, and as you become confident and certain in your expression of your own development and your growth, it's impossible for that evidence not to accumulate as something called self-worth. It's impossible for you not to dissolve guilt and shame. It's impossible for you to feel anything but powerful and more successful every single day. And I know that to be true because it's happening for me. I run an IT services company. What that means is we receive phone calls from our clients at the worst times of their lives. We receive calls when their computers and their servers are down, when their networks aren't working, their internet connection is unstable, and they can't get the job done they need to get done right now. And so I'm really experienced in receiving communication from stressed out business owners. I'm that person who's afraid of an emergency derailing my life. And I must say, by applying these habits and disciplines, I've transformed personally from anxious and neurotic, worried about my cell phone demonstrating the next emergency, into somebody who's excited and enthusiastic to take on life's next opportunity. Because I know that no matter what happens or doesn't happen, I'm worthy of love. I'm worthy of the fulfillment of the plans that I've created because I'm willing to tackle the challenges that come with them. Okay, so let's see. Hey, Sonny. Awesome, thanks for attending. Yes, the answer is yes. We run these workshops quarterly. I don't know that I'm gonna offer the same deal every quarter. I guess it depends on my mood. If you're interested in committing to next quarter, we'll honor the deal for you today. If you wanna register today and attend next quarter, Sonny, that's an option also. But besides that, this is what happens. We were late, right? Now I'm early. This happened. So actually, the irony is that the last 90-day business planning workshop, I actually ended the agenda half an hour early because we covered the agenda. Like we killed it. We killed it. People were leaving half an hour early because we didn't have any more content to cover and we were just ready to get to work. And the same thing has happened today. How's that for prioritized content, Warren? I think we killed it. Listen, Steven, where's the thing? Here it is. 1 second, guys. Just stick this out with me. I just want to take an opportunity to honor. Where did Steven go? He's up there filming. Listen, guys. Warren, flip me over here. We're on here? You're on my Osmo? Are we back? All right. Listen, here's Warren. Warren, say hi to the camera. Listen, here's our rock star. Warren has been producing this live stream broadcast. This is no small feat, okay, guys? Like, there's a lot going on. This is Steven. Steven's resident videographer, editor. He's done a ton of work in bringing our content and our brand to the world in the last 2 weeks. Thanks for being here, Steven. Hey, Jen and Everett. Let's switch back to me now. Jen and Everett, who have been on chat, who have been listening to me talk. Thank you for being here. For all of you who are on chat, thank you for watching. I really appreciate you being a part of my inaugural live stream. Please register for our workshop. Please attend. We've got some credits to roll. We're honestly ending this early so you guys can get back to work and tackle whatever priority came up for you while we were on this call. So thank you. We're out. Have an awesome day, guys. Because Gary Vee says word for word, if there was a way that I could help you find your purpose, I'd be all over it, but there isn't one. And I'm emailing him being like, Gary, there is one. There is actually. There's this thing called a value termination process that will reveal, right? It'll reveal it. It's not woo-woo. It's legit. And he's like, this is the one piece I'm missing. I'm like, Gary, I know the guy. He's got the piece. You should talk to him.